welcome to the first episode of Talking Norf. I'm Liam.
I'm Lockie.
And yeah, today we'll be just doing a little introduction episode, getting started into what this podcast is going to be all about. We'll start with the preview of last week's loss to Sydney. It was a 31-point loss, scrappy game at the SCG. Did you take any positives from that result at all?
Positives. The positive is that Cooper Harvey still manages to find form despite the fact that the whole team doesn't. Another positive, Brent Teakle looks pretty good. I think he's proven that he can play the level. And I think regardless of Sherry, I don't think he's a bad second ruck option, especially because I think JD just has to sit in the goal square. So I think Teakle more, if not Teakle, maybe Goad. But I think a second ruck option is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, CCJ going down after, 10 minutes kind of put us in the deep end with Teakle, but I think, honestly, it was for the best because, me personally, I wasn't convinced by the inclusion of CCJ. Yeah. Despite getting touted in the ruck, I think Teakle got around 16 disposals and a goal, and that's more than enough, really, I think.
He plays well forward, and that matters. He's a little messy when it comes to the ground ball. Like, he can get down to it, but he just fumbles it.
For a 2-metre guy, that's excusable. Yeah. The negatives, though, there was definitely a few.
I got so many negatives.
For me, it was just Isaac Heaney. We left that guy unmarked so much. I think it was 34 disposals, 5 goals, 14 clearances. It was a bit ridiculous.
It's just crazy. I mean, Parker handing off to Stevens at that their forward 50 stoppage. It's like Stevens has had problems being a contested player, let alone a defensive player. And it's not on Parker to be responsible for that. But, it's hard to watch that. I mean, other negatives, just Chum up forward. He should not be up forward. He's our best defender. Lead him back. He's settled. Throwing him up forward is just going to confuse him, I think. He's like our Rory Lobb, except we never hated him.
No.
And he plays that same kind of centre-half back role where he can intercept. He's not great one-on-one, but he's good in a pack.
Yeah.
And I don't think Pink, and definitely not Logue, are good enough to play as our backs without him.
No, I
think it's ridiculous. I think McKercher really struggled.
James Jordan tag was tough.
Yeah.
I think we didn't prepare for that. James Jordan usually takes the best midfielder, but I think because McKercher's been so good off the half back for us, I think Sydney did quite well to shut his game down. I think he got 22 touches, which is a lot less than he has been recently.
Well, just kicking out of the goal square, he just looks unsure in his decision making. He kind of lacks confidence in moments. You watch the Carlton game, and it's nothing but conviction all over the ground. Where he's kicking across, he's kicking into the corridor, he's kicking wide. But then, when he's kicking out a goal, he's always second guessing. He's going this way, he's going that way. And I'll tell you what, it's mimicking Caleb Daniel, which is not something we want him to be doing.
No, we don't need that. Also, one of my big concerns was Harry Sheasel.
Absolutely.
So he got around. What he usually does, he'll get around 25, 26 disposals, which on paper looks nice, right? But if you go through his efficiency, he kicked at 45%, which is just if our supposed best user, our best player, for a lot of last year and the year before, you can't really have him kicking at that efficiency.
I actually kind of think he's been kicking like that all year, though. Yeah. He hasn't been the same Sheasel, which is hard because he's set such a high standard. But I think his accuracy by foot has not been up to the standard, especially not his standard.
Not at all, yeah. It was a bit of an odd game. I think the third quarter was probably our best. We could have... there was that Paul Curtis touch goal at the end that would have got us within 6.
Yeah.
And we kept them goalless that quarter. I think we did pretty well. It was just the last quarter we just let them kick away, which we usually do. But
well, it's funny. I feel like it hasn't been... Our fourth quarter, fall away hasn't been that prominent this season as people are suggesting. But, in the last few weeks especially... It's kind of felt that Sydney definitely against the Dogs.
Yeah.
That fourth quarter fall-away was awful.
Yeah. I think that's who are we missing? We're missing McDonald for those games. That's a bit of experience.
That's the experience down back that we don't have.
Yeah. And I think without McDonald, I've come to realise how important he's been for us this year. He's copped a lot over the years, but he's genuinely been arguably our most consistent player before he got injured.
Yeah, he's copped a lot over the years, but he's also copped a lot this year, which I think is so unnecessary. He's been a champion.
Yeah.
I got the badge and everything. Luke McDonald legacy season.
Yeah. Taking the captaincy away from him was the best thing we could have done for his career.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we've missed him this year, and it's a shame. He's out for the rest of the year, but maybe for the best, just in case the injury would get worse. So that was the Sydney game. We move on. They're a good team. But it does not get much easier. We have Geelong, Saturday night at Marvel, our favourite.
That's going to be hard. They don't like under the lid. St Kilda beat them there at the Docklands earlier this year.
Yes, that is true.
But they did it. I don't think we can cause that kind of upset, especially what we have on hand at the moment.
Yeah, like the last time we beat them was 2015, so it's the longest current losing streak against a team.
Yeah, and they're only getting better.
Yeah, and we're getting worse. So it's not looking fantastic. But if we're going to look at it through an optimistic lens, we might be seeing the debut of Taylor Goad.
Potentially. Well, what do you have, 47 hitouts on the weekend?
Yeah.
Whilst it was against a first-year Sydney ruckman, I still think he dominated over the ground. He's not quite as effective on ground, down in the ground ball and around the ground as Sherry is, obviously. Yeah. But he's been swung forward at times. I think he's kicked a couple of goals. He's
been good. He's been so good all year in the.
I mean, he's a ruckman at pick 20, right?
And we have him extended till the end of 28. We clearly see something in this guy.
He's a long-term deal, like Sherry was. I mean, Sherry, really his first full year as number one ruckman was last year.
I used to.
He was 25.
Sherry, he was my least favourite player on the list for a long time, and he's obviously now.
Since he got a helmet, everyone loves him.
Yeah, helmet Sherry.
Helmet Sherry.
Yeah.
Who are you bringing in? What are you doing to the team?
Yeah, so there's some other injury stuff. So Zerha's under an injury cloud. He did play in the match sim today, so that is promising. Larky hopefully back. So, and obviously with CCJ out with the calf or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking, I want Goad. I do really want to see Goad. So Goad for CCJ.
Mm-hmm.
Larky's back. So I would, it's a tough one, this one. I'd probably say Logue, and then you move Comben back, as we should have played him.
So Dawson, Pink and Comben down back?
Yep.
I like that.
And then, depends. If Zerha's injured, I want to see Braden George debut. Because he's been playing that medium-sized forward role all season.
Yeah. Good
there's
pressure
also
on him
Jordan
too.
Payne, who's looking good in the VFL. I'd say probably not. George Wardlaw, obviously. I'm liking Will Phillips, but I just think it's probably a like-for-like change with those two. What do you reckon?
Okay. I think what I'd really love to see is Geordie Payne debut. So what we're talking about Sheasel not having the impact. They've moved him to the centre and forward a ball. He's not having the impact. He hasn't got the accuracy. He had 2 seasons at halfback where he won the Rising Star and North's Best and Fairest in his first year.
Yeah.
Put him back. He's clearly restless and not settled on the other side of the ground. So put him at halfback with McKercher. You have those two moving the ball. Drop Daniel. Bring in Geordie Payne. VFL, he plays in the centre, at the centre bounce, and then he moves forward because he's that really hard tackling pressure player. And I think that's kind of what we need in the centre. He can kind of have, if he takes someone like Heaney, he's not necessarily as big as Heaney because he's still quite young.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what he can be in the future. Someone like a Paul Curtis where you throw that into the centre bounce. He can apply the pressure. He can tackle. I saw on the weekend against Sydney. We've seen it all year in the VFL. And then he can kind of move that half forward because he can kick goals as well. I think we got to give him a chance. We got him at pick number 1 in the mid-season draft last year, and he hasn't even had half a look. So I think you drop Daniel, bring him in, Sheasel at halfback with McKercher to get that run off halfback. David King's always talking about you need a couple of halfbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't think McKercher and Daniel are going to get it done. Daniel's not getting it done.
No, let's be honest.
So for Sheasel, you're taking a lot of experience out of that back line, dropping Daniel, but I think you bring in Sheasel to that halfback line with McKercher, Geordie Payne in the middle, up forward.
Do you reckon O'Sullivan moves back to the wing?
Yeah, I think so. I really like him at that wing. He played the wing in the Fremantle game, and the only reason it wasn't that good a game is because he kept trying to kick off the ground. He kept missing the ball.
Yeah.
But he's good overhead. He's great around the contest.
You're big on Geordie Payne.
I'm very excited about Geordie Payne.
And I think...
Still looks like a bit of mongrel in him,
Yeah.
And we're missing that.
And there's a bit of a... for the later topic we're going to be discussing, he is out of contract at the end of the year. So I do think we need to give some of these guys
if not now, when?
A chance before they're out of contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, obviously Geelong, right? Very good team.
Very good.
We know this and we've struggled against them for years. There's a few things I think we obviously need to discuss. I think the Jeremy Cameron matchup is so difficult. So I don't know who we would put on him. Who do you reckon? What would be your pick for the Jeremy Cameron matchup?
Well, I think it'd have to be Pink, wouldn't it?
You reckon?
Will Dawson to Neil.
Neil.
Just for size.
Fair. Yep.
Because I bless Will Dawson, I think he's going to be great, but I don't think he can run with Cameron yet.
No.
I think he'll be too big to run with Cameron.
And you think not...
I probably would have gone Luke McDonald, to be honest.
That's not a bad idea. So you would lean away from Coleman on Cameron because Coleman's not a one-on-one defender. He's that intercept, so he would play maybe a smaller guy and then come in.
Yeah, I think if this may sound a little silly, but I think if Ollie Henry is playing, then I'd send Comber to Ollie Henry.
Yeah.
Who Coleman can outsize him, but he can also peel off him and intercept when need be.
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with Pink on Cameron. Pink.
He might struggle.
Speaking of Toby Pink, there's the Toby Pink Club T-shirt that I got a few days ago. Very happy with it. We've seen him do well on these big forwards, like Curnow, Tracy.
And Curnow is very not even close to as high on rating, but I think he's kind of that like for like Cameron.
Yeah,
so
Roma around the half forward just kills you.
Yeah, and the thing, if we get Cameron up the wing, he's still got a lethal boot inside 50, but then the other players still have to compete. So if he drags Pink up, that's fine, but then you've got there are other forwards there who, without Cameron, look a lot less exciting.
Personally, I'd rather Cameron kicking outside of 50 than inside 50.
Yeah, if I'm playing against him, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially considering he's on the hunt for 100.
Oh, God, he'd be licking his lips. I think, obviously, apart from Cameron, I do think the biggest issue is their speed. They are the quickest team at ball movements. Yeah. We're the slowest.
Yeah.
So that is... And under the roof, obviously they don't play great there, but it does suit teams that do want to move the ball fast.
Well, I think the problem is as well that not only do they move the ball quick, but they're just like their leg speed is a lot.
Max Holmes and
Holmes and Smith will outrun. Like they'll not only outrun endurance, but also with speed all day, which is why the contest, the clearance game is going to be so important. Like that's the thing. You bring Goad in, even Teakle against Stanley. I feel pretty good about that. Credit to Stanley what he's done, but he's not. He's not a great.
They don't have the best rucks.
No, and they also aren't a strong midfield. Tom Atkins is really the one who gets that done. So, if you send Georgie Wardlaw, Will Phillips to Atkins and kind of dull his influence.
Maybe Powley as well.
Maybe Powley. He struggled against Heaney last weekend, which puts your question mark up about not his defensive efforts, but maybe he's like that nullifying ability.
Yeah.
But I think if we can kind of dull Tom Atkins, get the clearance game in our favour, I think it's going to be a lot easier. Then you just got to worry about turnover game.
Yeah, which, I think against the Bulldogs a few weeks ago, we conceded 16 goals from turnovers, so we do want to avoid that.
Well, we are, for points against, we concede the most in the league per game, so it's going to be hard.
It will be a tough game. I want to be optimistic about it, but I cannot see us winning at all. But, we will see. All right, let's move into the VFL watch. We kind of touched over some of the players, but it was VFL, let's be honest, we don't care about the result. It's more about how those AFL players do.
Absolutely.
So it was an 11-point loss. We threw away a pretty big lead. I think lots of inaccuracy.
A massive lead.
So Thimba Maley's obviously his goal kicking needs to improve.
Was it one goal in the last 3 quarters?
Yeah, and it was 1 goal, 8, I think, in the last... Something around there. It was really inaccurate kicking after the first quarter. But my main takeaway is George Wardlaw's return. So he got 29 touches and 6 tackles. He's well above that level.
I think he had 9 clearances as well, which is a game high.
And he probably did most of it in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, he was really hot straight off the bat. I think he had a couple of clearances, a couple inside 50s in the first.
Which he does in the AFL. He has those quick starts. So I would 100% bring him in. But you've heard some things, maybe he will get held back 1 week.
There was some talk on some other North pages that they reckon Wardlaw will be kept back another week, which, I understand because it's kind of playing that balance of do you want him in the VFL, not risking the high impact of injury that's probably more likely in the AFL versus VFL, where he can find consistent form. Yep. 3 concussions in the last 12, 18 months?
Yeah, it's not great.
If he finds consistent form in the VFL, then we bring him in, he's a lot more confident instead of looking for him to find that form against some of the best midfielders in the competition.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, he's just never really, he hasn't had that game yet. His first half against Collingwood last year, it was 22 touches, 10 contested or something. He was number 1 on the ground at halftime. And he hasn't showed any of it since. So it
he
kind
has
of worries
patches.
me.
It's the thing. Like, he has these incredible patches. I remember I can't remember if it was his debut. We had a game against Sydney 2 years ago where we had the interchange.
That was his debut.
But that was his debut, and I fell in love with the guy that day. Like,
Absolutely.
I remember he did this turn on Chad Warner. He completely sent him. He centred the ball to our old mate Goldstein and kicked a goal. I remember that really fondly. I was like, this guy's got something special, and it's just been so frustrating. The injuries. I remember he had a chase down tackle against Hawthorn. It was brilliant, and then he did his hammy doing it. Yeah. It's just like things like those. He has these moments, and it just. Yeah, so I do want to see him back in, but I understand the precautions. But also the issue is, imagine if we keep him in the VFL and he gets an injury.
Yeah, well, it's the thing is that he was ready to go the week before Sydney, and then we didn't play him. We said, we'll give him one more week. And the Sydney game came around and said, we'll give him a week in the VFL. So they've been cautious about it.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely can. I guess it depends on how they want to treat him.
Yeah, and if they wanted... Because like for like is Will Phillips. It's if they want to get rid of him or not. But, Hey,
I've been on you about this. We need to have Will Phil and George Wardlaw in the centre bounce together.
Explain to the people your vision.
For some reason, Clarko cannot put Wardlaw and Phillips in the centre bounce together. Was it 2 games they played?
2 games together.
It was the Collingwood game last year. And it was the Melbourne game the week after, which we also nearly won.
And then we won 2
And I think it might have been the West Coast game the week before Collingwood.
Yeah, I think it was.
And I think that's probably our best 3 games.
We probably
3 of our best 5 games.
We should have beat Collingwood and Melbourne, let's be honest. Absolutely. We don't talk about what happens.
I just think that if you have Wardlaw, who's just this wrecking ball pushing through, you have Phillips, who's the contested player who can get the ground ball, clean hands to get it out, and you have someone like Sheasel when he's hitting targets on the outside to run and kick inside 50.
That's the vision. Isn't that what Brady Rawlings got them for?
Isn't that the 5-year plan?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think to let Will Phillips go is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, and we'll move on to our next topic, which we'll discuss Will Phillips' future at the club. So we have a list here of the players that are out of contract. I'm going to go through those now. So we have Bryn Teakle, Callum Coleman-Jones, Cooper Harvey, Cooper Trembath, who we got in the mid-season draft, Darcy Tucker, Eddie Ford, Fimber Maley, Geordie Payne, Callan Dawson, Miller Bergman, Toby Pink, Will Phillips, and Zach Bench. So we'll go through all these players and say, do we want to extend them or do we want to delist them? So do you want to go first, Lockie?
Teakle, I'm giving him a contract. I was going to wait and see what happened with CCJ to give my opinion. CCJ's injured. I think it has to be Teakle or CCJ. I'm giving it to Teakle.
I'll have to agree. I'm giving a 1-year extension to Teakle, and I'm saying bye-bye to CCJ.
Well, CCJ had like 30 games in 8 years? That seems like too many, doesn't it?
It's ridiculous, and we gave up so much for him. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Who we have next? My man, Cooper Harvey. I'm giving this guy a 1 to 2 year extension. I'm surprised he hasn't got it yet.
2 minimum.
2 minutes, yeah. Well, what's the point of a 1 year extension? This guy's kicked, 7 goals in his 3 games on return. To me, a bit ridiculous. It took him so long to get back, but especially that the Melbourne game, he was just... He knows how to find a goal. His dad's Brent Harvey.
It's not even that he's kicked the goal. It's that all the little tiny opportunities he's had, he's made them count.
Yeah,
he's not missing and kicking out in the full. It's just straight through the big ones every time.
Yeah, and he is a very strong contested mark as well.
Yeah.
He does not drop him. Like, he's a better contested mark than his dad, let's be honest. Like, weird to say, but he is.
That's okay.
2 year extension for me, possibly more. Let's see how these last few games go.
I think so.
Cooper Trembath. So mid-season pick. He's on a 6-month contract. I think it's harsh if you get rid of him.
Stupid. I don't get the 6-month contract.
It's weird. So I'd give him a 1 year because I like what I'm seeing in the VFL.
Yeah, against Sydney. What did he have? 7 or 9 marks? He only kicked 1 goal, but I think he kicked 1-3 or 1-4 and had a couple out in the full. Yeah. So get his kicking all right. I think he's going to look a lot better. Something. I think so. Maybe even he doesn't need to get his kicking right. You just chuck him down back and let him mark the ball away. But
I agree.
I think keep him on.
Yeah. Next, Darcy Tucker. So he started this year okay, and then he had the infamous game against Port Adelaide where he got 0 touches and 0 tackles in 3 quarters, maybe 1 tackle or something. And then a few other poor games, and then he was out for the season with a back injury. As harsh as it might be, I think we've got to delist him.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a Clarko role player. Yeah. But I think with Hardiman coming in as a result and Hardiman just being flawless, I think, sorry, Tucker. Bye-bye.
Yeah. This next one, this hurts a little bit. So it's Eddie Ford. I love this guy.
I love Elvis.
I love him. He seems like such a great guy, and I can see a little bit in him, but to be honest, I think if we do want to move forward, it's kind of like Curtis Taylor last year.
I still think that was a little harsh.
Yeah. But I think, for me personally, I'm delisting Eddie Ford.
You're kidding. I'm giving him one more year. And give him some time at senior level.
That's fair. I don't know if I see a role for him, and I just don't want to waste his or our time.
I wouldn't mind seeing him on the wing. Obviously, he's played up forward, and I don't think there's any room for him. I think it's pretty rude, actually, that Constantine's getting a game ahead of him. And they're trialling him at halfback in the VFL. I don't see him as a halfback player.
No, it just feels a little bit they're trying him in anything to try.
I don't think we're going to be able to find... We're not going to be able to fill that many spots over the off-season.
We don't have our number one pick, which I don't want to get started on, but we don't have our number one pick.
I think give him one more year.
Okay, that's fair. Fimba Maley, 1 year.
You got to keep him.
I see something there. Obviously, he's kicking... He would admit this himself. It really needs work.
It's fear of God every time he kicks the ball.
Yeah, but he clunks them. Not at AFL level quite yet. He gets to the... I love his attack on the footy. It's
He breaks the pack, which is what's important.
And some of our best games this year were with him in the team. Absolutely. So I would give him an extension. I think he can be a second forward to Larky going into the future. Would you agree? Extension for him?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Your man, Geordie Payne.
Absolutely.
I personally like what I see in the VFL. Even if he doesn't get a game 10 a year, there's something there. So
Absolutely.
I'm giving him an extension. Callan Dawson, let's be honest, that's a delisting.
Yeah,
Mid-season pick a few years ago.
We've given him a lot of chances.
Doesn't do much in the first. He's just a bit of an awkward size as well, I think. Miller Bergman. So he did his ACL in round 9. It is a general rule. If a player does their ACL, they get an extension, which I think's fair.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's like you don't want to leave them out on their feet, well, foot, I guess, if they're injured, but it's like, it's a professional business.
I agree to an extent, but I think he was in the vision for this year. That's what I'm thinking.
You do think?
Yeah, because he played a few games last year. I think he's in Clarko's vision.
Wow.
I think he gets an extension. I don't know if I necessarily want him to, but I think he will.
I think he'd be fighting for Goda's spot, and I don't think he'll beat
Goda's. I think Goda got an extension
because
of his injuries
as he should.
As well,
However, Bergman was a shin boner as a kid, so I got a soft spot for that. I think if he puts on a bit of muscle, I think he lacks a contested game. Put on a bit of muscle over the off season while you've got this ACL injury. A bit of Thilthorpe about it, just put on muscle while you can, while you're not running.
He's actually quite a good kick. That's probably the one thing
He's not a bad kick.
He's a very solid kick, which we kind of need a bit of.
Right, I'll give him a year.
Give him a year. Toby Pink.
You got to keep him.
Keep him for sure. I mean, a year, but maybe 2. With how he might be the most overperforming player in the AFL, but in the best way possible. Really, no disrespect at all. We love Toby Pink.
Absolutely.
So 1 to 2 year extension. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, this is the big one. Will Phillips.
Sign him up.
Would you give him just a 1?
No, I'd give him 2.
2?
I don't think he should go anywhere.
No.
I think he's wanted to stay. I don't know how he's feeling right now. He's wanted to stay. He's said that before. And I think it's just ridiculous that we haven't, we don't have him in our future plans. I don't know what he's done to not be included in that. I know it's been a hard road for him to get there, but Heaney's only just hitting his best form.
It's true. Yeah, I think it's so harsh these days with players like Dacos and Sheasel becoming so good so early.
Yeah.
You forget that players take a while. There have been Brownlow medalists in the past that have only peaked at about. I'm thinking Matt Priddis, for example. He was quite old when he won a Brownlow.
I reckon, yeah.
He was in his 30s. Will Phillips is 22, maybe even younger. This guy is so young. He had a whole year of his career taken out because of glandular fever. He obviously has some fitness issues because he's a year behind. Let's say he was drafted in 2020. Let's act like he was drafted in 21. He missed a whole year.
Yeah.
Give this guy a contract. We play so much better with him.
How old is he going to be? What year was he drafted? 2020, so he'd be 23 now?
Yeah.
I think you give him 2 more years, and at the end of that contract, if you don't see what you want, At the end of 2 years, if there's not there what you want, then I think you get rid of him. But I think you have to give him a chance.
Absolutely. We gave this guy number 29. We clearly trusted him. We need it. We need a stick.
Well, he was drafted the same year as Tom Powell, and I love Tom Powell. Where is he? Tom Powell's just here.
Yeah.
But I don't think Will Phillips is any worse than Tom Powell.
No, it's just Tom Powell's.
He's just had more consistency.
He's not had an injury in his career.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Okay, well... It's an extension. 100% extension. We like Will Phillips here. Zach Bench, again, another silly 6-month contract. He's brilliant in the VFL. He played his debut on the week. It was hard. He played 3 quarters in a horrible game.
To be fair, no one up forward got a look at it.
Apart from Cooper Harvey. But
yeah, but that's the thing is that he's worked for years to get that, chance. Like, he's something. He's
what we should have got in the year we could have drafted Watson. I think we've kind of replaced that possibility of having that guy with Bench.
And I think that's what Constanti was supposed to fill as well.
Constanti, not,
I think we
different kind of player to me.
I think that's another thing for this week. You should drop Constanti and give Bench the small forward role and see what he can do.
Absolutely. It felt Bench and Constanti and Cooper Harvey in the same forward line and Comben. It was awful structure.
Well, who's the Cats' smallest defender to put it to stop Bench?
They
don't really have any small defenders.
We could get killed in the air in the...
we will. Line. That's why you got to play how Brisbane played. You chip it up the corridor and you nullify the interceptors by kicking over them into the gaps between them. It's exactly what Brisbane did, and they absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
I just don't think we have the class to pull it off.
No.
We don't have a Dane Zorko enough back.
Not yet. Keep Zach Bench. I really like the guy. Welcome back to the Talking Norf podcast. I'm here a week on from the first part of this episode. Unfortunately, Lockie was unable to film today, so here I am in this makeshift setup. We got the North v Saints 2009 game on in the background, which famously I think was the year that the Saints lost to Geelong in the grand final, and I think we were the only team to beat them during that home and away season. So I thought I'd put it on. And we got the North scarf. We got a North Monopoly as well there. So just the setup for today. So sadly, today we're going to have to talk about the tragedy that happened at Marvel Stadium on Saturday night. So, as many of you might know, it was a 101-point loss against the Cats at Marvel Stadium. I was there. It was not great viewing. 150-49. Pretty sad. But I'm going to start off with the team changes. So, going into the game, I was hoping we would get Wardlaw back, Larkey back. Unfortunately, neither of them came back into the team, which was a shame. So what the team changes that actually occurred were Coleman Jones was out with his calf injury that he picked up in the Swans game. Cooper Harvey sick, which was unfortunate, and Will Phillips got dropped, which I was not happy about. And we brought in Dersma, Fimber Maley and Hansen Jr. So from Thursday night, I wasn't, excited for this game. I'd had a really bad feeling. And what we dished out was, a shame, to say the least. I'm going to start out with the very small amount of positives from this game. It took me a while to even just try to come up with one. The only thing I kind of got out of this was Bryn Teakle in the ruck. He did okay. So he got 29 hit-outs and 7 clearances. Got our most clearances. He actually won the ruck battle. We didn't actually get killed in the midfield. That wasn't the issue. I think we were minus 10 in clearance, which isn't great, obviously, but based off that score, you would think we would have lost clearance by more. So Bryn Teakle did his bit, whereas I don't think most players could say the same, unfortunately. Let's go into the negatives. This is a pretty easy one to start with. Jeremy Cameron. I mean, he's a great player, right? But you can't let a player kick 11 goals. He kicked 5 more goals than our entire team. The ease at which he kicked these goals too. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing at the stadium, to be honest. It felt kind of inevitable throughout the whole game that he was just gonna ease in for those open goals. You got around, I reckon 5 of those goals were open in the goal square.
which really puts into question that defensive structure, which is the next point. First off, playing Comben in the forward line again, I was perplexed by that decision. I mean, we did it against Sydney and clearly didn't work, right? So surely we don't do the same for that game, but we did, and it really cost us. I mean, Ping's had a pretty good year. Will Dawson is a young player and he's had some good performances, but those two and Logue it just did not work as a back three. The ease at which they got out the back, it just felt so... it was really frustrating. I mean, it was clear to everyone that, we got toyed with back there. And there was a moment just before halftime that I noticed. I haven't heard many people talk about this. So I was at level 2, and I at the end of the first half, I think we're already down by about 60 at this point. I saw Will Dawson did a kick just before the siren at about the wing. He tried to torpedo, he completely, scrambled to kick. It was whatever. It was halftime anyways. And I saw, Charlie Comben, who'd been obviously struggling up forward all day because it was, we weren't getting the ball in there. I saw him. I can't remember if this is exactly what happened. I'm not trying to spread anything, but I did see this. So Comben was not happy with the kick, and I saw him run over to Will Dawson at half time, kind of give him a little shoulder check and walk off. So obviously he wasn't happy with Will Dawson. I'm not saying those two hate each other. I doubt they do. I think we've got a tight-knit group, but the frustration really boiled over early, and that to me was a sign that there was something really wrong that day. Comben was really frustrated. He was not happy with Will Dawson. Bit harsh maybe, but Charlie Comben was just showing emotion there. So that I saw that, and I really lost entire hope for that second half. I was really concerned seeing that. That was a big shame. And obviously the game went the way it went. 101 point loss. We don't have to go into exactly what happened too much, but I think the main thing was how easily they were able to transition that ball from back to forward. It was pretty uncontested most of the time, so it was pretty embarrassing. And how hard it looked for us to transition the ball in the same game, same stadium. It was just bizarre. It looked like obviously two teams at completely different levels right now, but it looked amateurish at some points, and there were some players there that really, a lot of players there I wasn't happy with their performance. The inclusion of Zane Duursma, I was excited. Was I excited? I was optimistic that maybe he could show us something. I was pretty disappointed with his performance, unfortunately. I think he might get dropped this week. I don't know. It's harsh, but there was just a few times he looked completely out of it. I don't know. There was other players as well. Don't have to go too much into that. It was a tough day. Another one actually I want to mention is Caleb Daniel. I think a lot of us North fans haven't been pleased with him and the team this year. His kick-outs have really cost us this year. I was watching First Crack the other night, and Davey King, thinks we should be playing a youngster there, instead of Caleb Daniel, because statistically this season, Caleb Daniel's been the worst kick-out player in the league. Most of his possessions this year have been uncontested. A lot, I think 100 of his 400 disposals have been kick-outs, and obviously being the worst kick-out player in the league, I think there's definitely some concerns with his position in the team. Obviously, we brought him in for experience. Let's be honest, it's not worked out. He's not a leader. He's not a contested player. He's not a defensive player. It feels like he's taking up a spot of a young player that could be there. I really respect Caleb Daniel. He was a brilliant player at the Bulldogs, and I was excited for him to join North. Unfortunately, it's not worked out. I do think we need to bring someone else. Something else I want to mention was, we conceded 27 marks inside 50. The league average is 12. It was, they did it way too easy. That's kind of the main takeaway, really. Again, the midfield battle. We didn't get destroyed in clearance, but whenever they got the clearances, they were pretty impactful. So Bailey Smith, 43 touches and 13 clearances. It's an incredible performance, but just like Isaac Heaney, the week prior, we kind of let him stroll around all game, which is such a shame. But yeah, so that was that game, really disappointing. I saw Clarko's press conference and it didn't give me any confidence. Just talking about how inexperienced our backline is, which is true, but, we're an AFL standard team, I feel like we've been rebuilding too long to have those kind of performances pop up again. And it was a real shame, and I think it feels like we've kind of taken a backward step with that one. He got asked about the Matt Whitlock for the first rounder trade, and in hindsight, obviously that trade doesn't look great because we're going to have pick 2 or pick 3 most likely. So it doesn't look great in hindsight, but he said, we backed the kid, which I respect. It wasn't a great day for the club, unfortunately, but I think no need to panic. I mean, a little bit. It's always going to be a little bit of, that's not great. But I think we do need to calm down a little bit. The AFL media, just calm down a little bit. Geelong were really good and we were really bad on that day. We had a lot of big players out. Sherry, McDonald, Larkey. I mean, you could even say Core as an experienced player wasn't there. Archer, Goda. We have a lot of outs. Not an excuse at all because I wouldn't even want our reserves team putting up that performance. But it was tough. And I do think we just need to move on. Unfortunately, we just have to move on. Look to next week because we can't dwell on that too much because it'll just eat us up. So yeah, very disappointing performance. Probably the weakest performance we've had this year. Geelong are a great team, but yeah, not our day. I'll just put it that way. Let's go into what happened in the VFL on the Sunday. So it was a 2-point loss in the VFL. We conceded a goal after the siren, which... I mean, it's another tough loss. Not as bad as a 101-point loss, but that's pretty heartbreaking for the boys in the VFL. Obviously, my main takeaway from the VFL, as I've mentioned earlier, is the AFL players, what they do, can they get in the team. So there was 2 really interesting moves from the VFL team. Geordie Payne, who's been playing inside midfield for the VFL most of this season, moved to small forward, which I think is a role that he's played in the past. And he kicked 4 goals. It's brilliant. Then we had Matt Whitlock. He moved forward after playing in the back line all season. And he kicked 4 goals. So that was another positive from the VFL. So we could see those 2 back in the side. We also had Eddie Ford, Will Phillips, George Wardle, all 20-plus disposals, which is great. And then Taylor Goad, 28 hit-outs and a goal. That's a guy I do want to see in the team. So yeah, there was some positives from the VFL for sure. Not the win. Obviously, it sucks to lose with a goal after the siren, but we can take positives away from that, I think. Now let's go into the round coming up. So we're playing the Saints, who have just come off an incredible comeback win against the D's. So they'll have their tails up. Nazai Wanganeen-Miller, incredible player. Probably the best in the league right now. So obviously that's something we need to address. That's at Marvel Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Last time we beat them was 2020 at Marvel Stadium round 1. That was, I'm actually remembering now, that was the game before it was 2 months off during the pandemic. So I actually remember that game. It was 2020, long time ago, but I think it was a 2-point win, 5 years ago though, right? It's a long time for beating a team. Like most teams we come up against, it's been a while since we've beat them, let's be honest. Last time we played them was round 8 last year. It was a 38-point loss at Marvel. It was, they just outplayed us. I don't have to go into that too much. So players to watch at the Saints, as I've mentioned, Nazai Wanganeen-Miller, he's their best player. We need to tag him. We have to. I know we're not the biggest tagging team, but we are at that point with the form that we're in where we have to start tagging players. And he's 100% one of those players we need to start tagging. We need to restructure our defense. I'm going to go into the players I think we should bring in. And then defensive transition, I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the players we're going to bring in. Injury news. I don't think anyone picked up an injury in the Geelong game. I mean, they didn't run hard enough or contest hard enough to probably get injuries, let's be honest. So yeah, no injuries from that game, I don't think, as of now. But yeah, there's got to be some ins. I mean, if you lose by the margin we lost by, there's guaranteed to be a lot of team changes. So I've actually come up with what I would do if I was Clarkson for the game against St Kilda. So I would bring in... Actually, let's go with the outs first. I would take out Zane Dersma. I don't think he was good enough on the weekend. I would take out Logue. He just doesn't look the same since that ACL and all the injuries he's picked up. Constantine's played every game this year. I think a game in the twos is not the end of the world. Make Zach Bench and Cooper Harvey the main small forwards. This is harsh, but I think we need to take out Will Dawson, Fimber Maley, Dylan Stephens, and this is the big one, Caleb Daniel. So now I'll go through who I think would come in for each of these players. So I'd go Cooper Harvey straight back in. He was sick, he couldn't play, but he was great the 3 weeks before, so he doesn't deserve to miss another week. I'd debut Taylor Goad. I like Teakle on the ruck, but I want Teakle and Goad to rotate throughout the game. Play Teakle more forward, because I actually quite like Teakle as a forward option. Matt Whitlock played great at forward. We could play him up forward, but I do actually think I want to actually see Matt Whitlock in the back line. Geordie Payne, play him as a small forward. Nick Larkey's got to come back in for Fimber Maley, I reckon. And these aren't like for likes for Daniel and Stephens, but I want Wardlaw and Phillips in the same midfield. So what that would make the team look like. So my idea would be you play... Shees will need some confidence. I'd play him in the Caleb Daniel role that he'd been playing in his first years at the club. So him and Colby as our main transition out of the backline. They were top 3 picks in each of their draft. They're so talented. I'm okay with those two playing in those roles. Then the ideal midfield 3, excluding Goad and Teakle as the rucks, I'd want Wardlaw, Phillips and LDU. And obviously with rotations from Tom Powell, Parker, Simpkin. I would move Comben back, of course. I think, so Comben, Pink, and Whitlock is what I want as our back 3. You can rotate maybe Whitlock in the forward line sometimes. We're up against the Saints, who are a very short team in the forward line. Cooper Sharman's their only tall. So we could honestly go with two tall defenders. But they're bigger down back, so you can play an extra tall, if that's Teakle or Whitlock. So that's this episode. So thank you. We had to split this up into 2 parts. We'll have an episode out next week with the review of the St Kilda game and the preview of the Giants game. I think is the next game we play. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week back in our normal setup.